we're going to have a look how to mix mortar on a spot board in very small quantities, which is ideal if you don't have a cement mixer. So our main ingredients are sand, cement, plasticiser, which is very important as this adds it into the mix and makes it workable, and a bit of water. We've also got a trowel for mixing. So the mix we're doing is 4:1, which is 4 parts sand to 1 part cement. So you can use any sort of measurement you want for this as long as it's 4:1. So in the bucket here we got 4 trowelfuls of sand. So we will tip that onto the board. Now the key thing here is not to add too much water at the start. You've got to mix it as it'll wet itself up. So we're going to add some plasticiser in. Now this is concentrated plasticiser. So we'd probably only put 15 millilitres in a cement mixer full. So all that's going to go into this is less than 5. So we're going to put less than that amount in. So we'll tip this straight onto the sand there. Don't put too much in because it can weaken the mix adding too much air. Now we can put our cement in. So you want a nice even trowel full of cement. Just sprinkle that onto there. Now I'll mix it round dry a bit first before we add any water. Just a bit easier. Just give it a basic mix. What we're looking to do is coat all of the sand particles with cement. So it's got to be thoroughly mixed. So keep pulling in from the edge of the board. Like so. And you'll just see it change colour as the cement mixes with the sand. Now if you've got a bigger board, you could use a shovel for this and make a bigger mix. So what we want to do now is make a bit of a well in the middle, and you can put a bit of water in. Don't add too much. If you do make it too wet, you can just add a bit more sand and cement to dry it up. So just keep mixing it round. Keep pulling in from the edge of the board. And you'll see it start to bind together now. Just don't be tempted to add too much water. That's very important in making a workable mix. So now we can add a bit more water to that. Not too much, a bit less than what we added before. That won't be far off all we need. Now you can see it starting to come together and be smooth now. So this is the stage where you just got to keep mixing. It'll make your arms ache, but keep mixing. You can really see that come together now and be a workable mix. This is where I say don't be tempted to keep adding water because it will wet itself up. Just keep mixing it around, get all the dry bits in with it. You'll notice now it's not sticking to the trowel so much. You'll notice now there's no bit of sand or anything in the middle of it. Get any of these bits off the edge if we missed any. Just made that into a nice smooth workable mix. Again, if you make it too wet, you can dry it up. You can have a bit of sand and a bit of cement with it to dry it up. But just make sure you always stick to that 4:1 if that's the mix you're using. So if you're adding sand, add cement accordingly. And you've got a nice workable mix, and it's the Feb that does that, or the plasticiser. Adds air into the mix and makes it usable. But that there now is perfect for small quantities of mortar. Now there's a couple of things to add. So the amount of water you add will depend on how wet or dry the sand is. You've got to keep that in mind. And also different brands of plasticiser may slightly differentiate to how much you want to put in the mix. They might be stronger or weaker. Bear in mind now this is concentrated. So if you've got an unconcentrated one, it might be a bit more goes in the mix. But this will be perfectly usable now and very easy to knock up. Again, it can just be scaled up onto a bigger board, and you can mix it with a shovel then and mix large quantities at once. Or even in a wheelbarrow. We would use a wheelbarrow now, but it's easy to show on this board.